The French, they have given us great things. Wine, Thierry Henry, the Soixante-Neuf. Now comes something to challenge this Parthenon of greatness. Clair Obscur, Expedition 33. Is it as good as everyone is saying, or is it just a expedition? While in my humble opinion, it's neither. Whilst good, it suffers from some glaring issues that I don't see discussed, which really hold it back. If anything, it's an interesting example of how people interact with media and what nowadays is perceived as excellent. Let's get into it. The good. The artistic design elements are wonderful. The sound, environments, characters and general world are all gorgeous. It makes every second you spend in the game joyous. It's completely its own style. There's no stench of committee thinking or meddling. There's a clear vision and everything within that is incredibly cohesive. The gameplay. Giving each character their own unique minigame with different playstyles within that is great. Personally, I don't find it overwhelming, but I could understand that as a criticism. I love discovering little synergies with skills, and even across character skills. For example, my Al Swift Stride ability requiring burning. You could have set her up on your own, or you could have Lune use immolation beforehand and you've saved yourself a turn. It's not the most in-depth system in the world, but there's enough there where you can go as deep or as shallow as you wish. But that leads us to the bad. As a rebuttal to my previous point, the world is empty. It's a good job they made it pretty, as you spend a lot of time running around huge plains of nothing. Then when you do spot something, you enter a wavy wall to find more nothing. The Neveron Beach is the worst example of this. So much walking to find a minigame where the reward is a costume. It was like a prank had been played on me. The gameplay. Suspiciously absent from my previous point was the dodge and parry mechanics. This is ultimately what really lets the game down for me. Every enemy hits so hard you basically die in one hit. So early on I was thinking, let's build tanky so I can trade some damage, learn the pattern and win through counters. The problem with that is by the time you learn the abilities you take no damage now anyway. So now you do no damage and the enemy can't damage you. So as I progressed through the game I just built every character glass cannon, bashed my head against a wall for a bit to learn the parry pattern, then just annihilated every enemy encounter eventually. Personally, this isn't fulfilling. It's not like I was locking in and clutching out some crazy parry sequence. The problem is, once you learn the parry sequence, the attacks are too telegraphed. So you notice the wind-up animation, or even the named attack. Think on how you parry that, and then it's quite easy. Maybe I'm metagaming too much, and should try to live in the moment more. But there needed to be more variety and payoffs for different builds. From what I can see, everyone online just uses a cheese one-shot build anyway. A wonderfully succinct comment I saw was you can be terrible at the RPG part and still steamroll the game by being great at the parry part. The in-between. The story. Let's be honest, it's very derivative and manipulative. I thought this was a known trope, but can't seem to find an example of it. Basically, the start with the gamage is emotional blackmail. You don't know these characters, so why would you care if they die? So they kill a pretty girl with big sad eyes, while a handsome man with a big sad mooey cries to get you to care. It tricks you into thinking you should be more upset than you are. You've literally just met these people, there's no reason to be invested in them dying. It's like killing a dog on film. Immediately you are sad, hate who did it, and side with the person out for revenge. Like a magic trick, when you know it works, it's ruined. With that said, they do eventually build an emotional core, admittedly by wholesale copying Final Fantasy X. But I was invested by the end and was appropriately upset with each ending. I will add I love the emotional maturity of both endings, but that's probably a whole different video. Everything outside the game. Look, is it impressive to make a game with a small studio? Maybe, I don't know, having never worked in game development. What I do know is it's irrelevant to my enjoyment, and it should be completely inconsequential to a review. If you start factoring outside circumstances to a piece of art, it's compromised. You need to review things as they are, not how you want them to be, or how you will be perceived for liking them or not liking them. Also, just because a lot of games are terrible now doesn't make this better than it is. Giving something a score should be on an absolute scale, not a relative scale. I was expecting something so much better than I got because of how hyped this was. Yes, next to something like Veilguard, this is amazing, but it's not always going to be next to that. In a few years, people will go back and play this and simply be wowed and wonder why everyone gave it a 9 out of 10. In summary, I did like Clair Obscur more than this review would suggest. I did everything there was to do, clearing the endless tower and even beating Simon with a non-cheese build, and had fun doing it. That should be enough. I should be able to say that it was a 7 to 8 out of 10. I shouldn't have to acknowledge any other factors than that, and you shouldn't want there to be any caveats to affect the score. We need to move away from, wow, this was made by this person, or they liked it, so I need to like it, and just say it's okay not to like something because it is French.